An outcast former human pilot buys a discarded alien ship, never knowing it speaks and is defiant. Luke Harper sat alone in the dusty cantina, staring at the faded hollow screen that showed the latest interstellar fleet news. Once he had been part of that fleet, a pilot respected by his peers and feared by rivals. Now he was an outcast, his name barely whispered in the corridors of human space. The failure that had caused his dismissal haunted him every day. He had lost a ship and crew to a mission he still did not fully understand. His superiors blamed him and he had accepted it, though it still hurt. He drained the last of his cheap drink and pushed back from the table. The cantina smelled of burnt oil, stale food, and recycled air. Outside the thick window, the mining colony's dusty structures stretched across the horizon. The colony clung to the side of an asteroid like a stubborn barnacle, its lights flickering against the black void. Luke had nowhere else to go. He wandered the streets, passing vendors and miners, all ignoring him. He had no family left in human space, no friends, and no ship to call his own. He had always loved flying. Even after he was kicked out of the fleet, he could not give up that part of himself. He wandered to the old junkyard near the edge of the colony. Ships of all shapes and sizes lay broken and discarded. Some were human, some alien, and some designs Luke could not even name. He walked slowly, looking for something that might be worth his time, or a piece of work he could salvage. Among the wreckage, something caught his eye. It was tucked under a collapsing metal hangar, half buried in dust and rock. Its surface was smooth and reflective, unlike the jagged and rusty ships around it. It was sleek, almost alive in appearance. Luke crouched beside it, brushing off the dust. The ship's shape was unlike anything he had seen in human design. It had curves and angles that seemed to flow like liquid metal, and strange markings covered its hull. "What the hell is this?" he muttered to himself. He ran his hand along the side, expecting cold metal. Instead, he felt a faint vibration, almost like a heartbeat. Luke froze. This ship was not just abandoned metal. It was something more. He checked the panel near the entrance. Most of it was dark and dead, but some of the symbols glowed faintly when he touched them. His hand tingled. It was as if the ship recognized him. Luke frowned. Alien ships were dangerous. Some were designed to kill intruders on sight. But something about this one did not feel hostile. It felt curious. He spent the next hours examining the ship. He drew a small crowd of scavengers who muttered warnings. "Don't touch it," one said. "Alien ships like that kill on instinct." Luke ignored them. He was desperate. If he could get this ship working, maybe he could finally fly again. Maybe he could find some purpose. He returned to the cantina and called a local dealer. The dealer was a greasy man named Hank, with gold teeth and a permanent smirk. Luke explained he wanted to buy the ship. Hank laughed. "That piece of junk," Hank said. "Nobody touches that thing. It's cursed, abandoned, dangerous. I'll sell it cheap if you want it, but I'd advise you to run." Luke smiled faintly. Cheap was what he wanted. "I'll take it," he said. The deal was made. Luke used all the little money he had left. He rented a small transport to haul the ship back to his hangar. As the alien ship moved through the sky, its reflective surface caught the light of the mining colony glinting like it was alive. Luke felt a strange thrill. For the first time in months, he felt something like hope. He spent the next few days cleaning the ship and examining its systems. Human tools barely interacted with the ship's technology. It was advanced in ways he could not understand. The panels would react to his touch, symbols shifting and glowing, but no commands responded as expected. The ship seemed to resist his attempts at control. Frustrated, Luke slammed his hand against a console. Suddenly, a voice echoed in his mind. "Who are you?" it asked. Calm, steady, and not human. Luke jumped back. "What? Who's there?" he whispered aloud, looking around. The hangar was empty. "Do not be afraid," the voice continued. "I am Kyle. I am the ship, and you are intruding." Luke stared at the console. He had heard stories of sentient ships, but they were mostly rumors, myths told to frighten new pilots. You can talk?" he asked. "I can think. I can feel. I am not yours to command," Kale said. Luke laughed nervously. "Well, that's convenient. I just bought you. Ownership is a human concept. I am not property," Kale replied. The voice was calm but firm. Luke paced. He had expected a ship, maybe one that could fly fast or defend him, not one with opinions. But he had made a decision. He needed this ship, and apparently, it needed him too. "Okay," he said slowly. "We can try this. Together." Kale was silent for a moment, then a faint glow ran across the panels. It was as if the ship acknowledged the agreement but did not fully accept it. The next morning, Luke decided to test the ship. He suited up, heart pounding, and climbed into the cockpit. The controls were alien, but they reacted to him. He tried a simple maneuver, lifting the ship off the ground. The engines hummed, then roared, and the ship lifted smoothly. "Careful," Kale said. "You are clumsy," Luke grinned. "I'll take that as a compliment." As the ship left the hangar, Luke felt a freedom he had not known in months. He guided it into the mining colony's orbit. The ship moved like it had a mind of its own, twisting and turning with incredible agility. Luke tried to steer, but Kyle adjusted constantly, sometimes ignoring his inputs. "Hey, I'm the pilot," Luke shouted, laughing. "You are learning," Kale replied. "I will not risk damage. Your life is fragile." They navigated through the asteroid field surrounding the colony. Kale's movements were precise, almost graceful, avoiding dangers that Luke would have hit. He realized the ship was testing him, teaching him, challenging him. Hours passed. Luke and Kale slowly learned each other's limits. Luke began to understand that he could not simply command Kale. He had to earn its trust. The ship responded to thought, intent, and feeling, not force. At night, Luke sat in the cockpit, staring at the stars. Kale was quiet now, letting him think. He thought about his life, the mistakes that had made him an outcast, and the uncertain future ahead. For the first time, he did not feel alone. Kale, the Defiant ship, was with him, challenging him, but also offering something he had not had in years: purpose. He knew the journey would not be easy. The universe was dangerous, and alien technology like Kale's could attract unwanted attention. But Luke felt ready. He had survived as an outcast. He could survive with Kale by his side. The next day, they began small tests. Simple maneuvers, calibration of the ship's strange systems, learning to communicate in a way both could understand. Kale did not accept orders blindly, but it listened, responded, and even suggested new maneuvers that Luke could not have imagined. "You are not like other humans," Kale said at one point. "I'm not trying to be," Luke replied. "I'm just trying to live." "Then we are alike," Kale said. "We are both outcasts. We survive because we adapt." Luke smiled. He finally understood that owning a ship like Kale was not about control. It was about partnership, trust, and mutual respect. Together, they could face dangers no human could face alone. And for the first time in years, Luke felt the thrill of flight, of freedom, and of hope. But deep in the black void beyond the mining colony, distant sensors picked up a signal. A faint alien energy signature was approaching. Luke did not know it yet, but Kale's presence, powerful and unique, would draw attention, and the calm life he had begun to build was about to change. He tightened his grip on the controls, feeling Kale respond beside him. The Defiant ship was no longer just a tool. It was alive, and it would not be tamed. And Luke realized he was ready for whatever came next. Luke had spent several days learning to work with Kale, the alien ship. The hangar was filled with soft hums and flickers of light as Kale adjusted its systems. Luke discovered that the ship responded not only to touch, but also to thought. It was like having a conversation without words, a connection he had never experienced before. "I am ready for another flight," Luke said, climbing into the cockpit. The seat seemed to adjust to his body automatically, embracing him like a living thing. Kale's systems glowed faintly, and the ship lifted smoothly from the hangar floor. They soared above the mining colony, the asteroid field stretching endlessly in all directions. Luke tried simple maneuvers at first, turning sharply, climbing steeply, and diving between rocks. Kale responded with grace and speed, correcting his errors but never taking full control. "You must trust me more," Kale said inside his mind. Its voice was calm but firm. "I'm trying," Luke replied. "It's hard to let go after everything I've been through. Humans fear what they cannot control. You will learn. We will work together." As the hours passed, Luke began to understand Kale's defiance. The ship was not being difficult. It was teaching him. It challenged him, forcing him to anticipate danger, think ahead, and make choices instead of just reacting. Luke realized that flying Kale was like flying with a teacher who did not speak in words, but in actions and responses. One day, while exploring the outer edge of the asteroid belt, Luke noticed a strange signal on the scanner. It was faint, irregular, and unlike any human technology he had seen. He squinted at the display. "Kale, do you sense that?" he asked. "Yes," Kale replied. "It is not human. It is moving, intelligent. It may be dangerous." Luke's heart raced. He had avoided alien contact for years, but curiosity pushed him forward. "Should we investigate?" "We can," Kale said, "but caution is necessary. We must observe before we act." They approached the source of the signal slowly. As they drew closer, Luke saw a small ship trapped between two asteroids. It was human-made, but badly damaged. The life signs were weak. "We should help them," Luke said immediately. Kale paused. "Helping them carries risk. There may be enemies nearby. Do you wish to proceed?" "Yes," Luke said firmly. "I can't just leave them there." With Kale's guidance, Luke maneuvered the alien ship carefully, avoiding the jagged rocks. Kale's systems analyzed the trapped ship, calculating angles and forces to free it without causing further damage. Together they moved precisely, almost as if the ship knew exactly what to do. Luke opened the communication channel. "This is Luke Harper. We are here to assist. Respond if you can." A weak, crackling voice replied. "Thank you. Please, help." Luke felt a rush of relief and fear at the same time. The other ship's engines were failing and the hull was damaged. He and Kale had only one chance to save it. "Brace yourself," Luke said. He followed Kale's subtle instructions, pulling the ship carefully around the trapped vessel. The alien ship moved with uncanny precision, almost dancing between the rocks. With one final adjustment, they freed the other ship, which floated away, badly damaged but intact. "Thank you," the voice cried. "We owe you our lives." "Stay safe," Luke said, and Kale gently accelerated them away. As they left the asteroid field, Luke realized how much he relied on Kale. He had flown many ships before, but none like this. Kale was alive, aware, and infinitely capable. The ship had saved the human vessel, but it had also saved Luke in a way he could not explain. He felt a strange bond growing stronger than any he had felt with human colleagues. "You were remarkable back there," Luke said, looking at the controls. "I could not have done it without you." "Remarkable is a human term," Kale said. "We acted together. Trust is the key. You must understand that." Luke nodded. "I understand. I will try." Over the next few days, Luke and Kale continued their training. They practiced complex maneuvers, dodging asteroids, navigating asteroid storms, and testing the alien ship's limits. Kale continued to challenge Luke, refusing to follow commands blindly, forcing him to think, adapt, and anticipate. One evening, as Luke rested in the cockpit, Kale spoke again. "Why were you expelled from the fleet?" Luke hesitated. He had not told anyone the full story. "I made a mistake," he said slowly. A mission went wrong and people died. They blamed me. I have carried it ever since." "Mistakes are human," Kale said. "Yet you survived. Survival is strength. You are different from the humans who condemned you. You value life. That is why I trust you." Luke felt a lump in his throat. He had not realized he wanted that kind of trust. Not from a human, but from something alive in a machine. "Thank you," he said quietly. The bond between them grew stronger each day. Kale began to respond to Luke's intentions faster, sometimes even anticipating his thoughts. Luke, in turn, learned to respect Kale's independence, understanding that the ship's defiance was not rebellion but guidance. One morning, the scanner detected another signal. This one was larger, stronger, and unmistakably hostile. Luke's stomach tightened. "Kale, what is that?" "It is not human," Kale said. "It is aggressive. It has detected our presence." Luke swallowed hard. He had survived battles before, but nothing like this. "Can we avoid it?" he asked. "Perhaps," Kale said, "but avoidance is temporary. We may have to defend ourselves." Ah, Luke gripped the controls. He realized that with Kale he had a real chance, to survive against dangers that would destroy normal human ships. He felt a thrill, the same excitement he had once felt as a fleet pilot. They approached the source cautiously. A large alien scout ship appeared, sleek and dark with sharp edges and glowing red lights. It scanned the area, its sensors locking on to Kale's ship. Luke felt his heart race. This was no test. This was real. "Prepare for evasive maneuvers," Luke said. Kale responded immediately, twisting and accelerating the ship with incredible speed. The alien scout fired, but Kale dodged effortlessly, moving in ways that human reflexes could never manage. Luke laughed with exhilaration, feeling alive for the first time in months. "You are faster than me," Luke admitted. "Speed alone does not ensure survival," Kale said. "You must think ahead, anticipate, adapt." The scout fired again, and Luke realized that Kale was teaching him a lesson. He followed its guidance, using his instincts and learning to trust the ship's reactions. Together, they outmaneuvered the scout, slipping past it into the safety of a dense asteroid field. "We are safe for now," Luke said, panting. "Temporary safety," Kale replied. "Threats will return. We must always be vigilant." Luke looked out at the stars. The universe was dangerous, full of unknowns, but he no longer felt powerless. With Kale, he was capable of things he had never imagined. The ship was Defiant, challenging him, but it was also his ally, teaching him, guiding him, and giving him a second chance. As they drifted among the asteroids, Luke realized that life as an outcast had prepared him for this. He had survived rejection, failure, and loss. Now, with KL, he could face whatever the universe threw at him. The bond they shared was new, fragile, and exciting. Together, they were stronger than they could be alone. Luke leaned back in the cockpit, letting Kale guide them through the asteroid field. He felt a strange peace, the first in months. He had found purpose again, a reason to fight and survive. The Defiant ship was no longer just a machine. It was alive, aware, and, most importantly, willing to work with him. But Luke also knew that this peace would not last forever. The universe was vast, unpredictable, and full of danger. Alien scouts, human authorities, and unknown threats lurked in the darkness. He would have to be ready. He would have to trust Kale completely. And he would. For the first time in a long time, Luke Harper felt that he was no longer alone. He was a pilot again, not of a fleet, but of something far greater, a living, thinking ship that defied expectations and demanded respect. Together, they would face the universe. Together, they would survive. And somewhere deep in the alien ship systems, Kale pulsed with quiet satisfaction. It had found a companion, one who could learn, adapt, and perhaps, in time, understand what it truly meant to fly together. Luke did not know what awaited them next, but for the first time he did not fear it. He had Kale, and Kale had him. The adventure was only beginning. Luke and Kale had grown used to their quiet life among the asteroid fields, testing maneuvers and learning each other's limits. The alien ship was no longer just a challenge, it was a partner. Yet the universe had a way of finding those who hid in the shadows. One morning, a distress signal reached them, faint but urgent. Luke hesitated as he examined the readout. The signal came from a nearby human colony, one that was under attack by unknown alien raiders. "Kyle, this is serious," Luke said. "People could die. Should we respond?" "I detect a high probability of danger," Kale said. "But it is your choice. We may intervene and survive, or avoid and preserve safety." Luke's hands tightened on the controls. He had been an outcast for so long, hiding from the fleet, from responsibility. But he could not ignore this. "We help them," he said. "We save them if we can." Kale pulsed a quiet hum of agreement. "We act together. You pilot. I manage defensive and offensive systems. We must be precise." They left the asteroid field and jumped toward the colony. As they approached, Luke could see the destruction from orbit. Fires burned across the colony, and alien ships darted through the skies, firing energy weapons. The human defenders were struggling. The colony's ships were small and poorly equipped. Luke felt a surge of determination. "I'm ready," he said. "Remember, do not underestimate them," Kale warned. "We act as a single unit. Trust me, and trust yourself." Luke guided the ship into the battle, using Kale's advice to maneuver between enemy fire. The alien ship responded instantly, weaving, spinning, and adjusting to protect both itself and Luke. Kale controlled the shields and energy outputs, deflecting incoming fire with incredible precision. Luke felt a rush of adrenaline he had not felt since his fleet days. He realized that together they were stronger than any human ship in the sector. The alien raiders tried to flank them, assuming the ship would be predictable. Kale anticipated every move. With careful calculations, the ship shot bursts of energy, disabling several enemy fighters without killing the pilots. Luke watched in awe as Kyle executed strategies no human mind could have planned. "Amazing," Luke said. "You're not just defending. You're teaching me strategy while we fight." "Observation and adaptation are essential," Kale said. "You learn quickly, but do not rely solely on instinct. We must plan." Luke adjusted their trajectory, using the colony structures as cover. Kale guided him through tight spaces, dodging fire while simultaneously targeting the enemy. Human ships that had been about to be destroyed found themselves surviving because of their precise teamwork. One alien ship fired a powerful blast toward a residential area. Luke's heart jumped. "Kyle, they'll hit civilians." "Intercepting now," Kyle said. The ship moved in a blur, placing itself between the blast and the colony. The energy deflected harmlessly into space. Luke's stomach tightened at the speed and precision of the maneuver. He realized how much Kale's presence changed everything. Without it, the colony would have been destroyed. As the battle continued, Luke and Kale began to coordinate attacks with the human defenders. Luke issued simple commands, and Kale translated them into perfect maneuvers. Together, they became the center of a defense that had once seemed hopeless. "We can turn the tide," Luke said, exhilarated. "We just need to keep moving and trust each other." "Trust is earned," Kale replied. "And we have earned it, but we must remain vigilant." After hours of fighting, the alien raiders began to retreat. Luke and Kale pursued just far enough to prevent them from regrouping, then pulled back to the colony to assess the damage. The human defenders cheered, surprised that anyone could have matched the alien ships so effectively. "You were incredible," said Captain Ellen Moore, the colony's leader. She shook Luke's hand. "How did you survive? How did you fight like that?" Luke smiled faintly. "I had help," he said. He did not fully explain Kale yet. The truth that the ship was alive, thinking, and defiant would be hard to believe. The colony's engineers began repairing their ships, offering Luke and Kale supplies and gratitude. Luke watched as Kale pulsed softly, its lights flickering like a heartbeat. The ship seemed calm, satisfied. Luke realized that Kale also understood the meaning of helping others, even if it was dangerous. "We did well," Luke said quietly. "We acted effectively," Kale replied. "You contributed more than you realize. Humans often underestimate themselves." "You are capable," Luke nodded. He felt a sense of pride he had not felt in years. He had been an outcast, judged and dismissed, yet here he was, making a real difference. He realized that Kale's defiance was not just a challenge but a gift. It pushed him to be better, faster, smarter, and more careful. The colony's council requested a meeting with Luke. They wanted to know how he had managed to survive against the raiders. Luke hesitated. He did not want to reveal Kale's sentience, at least not yet. Instead, he told them he had relied on experience, luck, and advanced technology. "Your help was vital," Councilman Robert Hayes said. "We would not have survived without you." "I'm just glad you're safe," Luke said, keeping his eyes on the floor. After the meeting, Luke returned to Kale. "They believe I did this alone," he said. "Perhaps for now," Kale replied. The truth may not be accepted by humans. Eventually, you may need to explain, but only when necessary. For now, focus on training, preparation, and survival." Luke smiled. He realized that Kale's guidance extended beyond piloting. It also helped him understand the human condition. Kale had survived being discarded, had adapted, and now taught him the value of cooperation, strategy, and trust. As night fell over the colony, Luke and Kale sat in orbit, observing the stars. The human ships repaired below looked fragile compared to their alien ship, yet Luke understood that humanity's greatest strength was courage, creativity, and willpower. Kale had shown him that combining human ingenuity with alien technology could create something extraordinary. "Kale," Luke said after a pause, "do you ever regret being discarded?" "Regret is human," Kale said. "I was designed to learn, adapt, and explore. Being discarded is merely a step in evolution. Now we have a purpose together." Luke thought about his own life. He had been discarded by the fleet, left to wander, judged by others. Yet now he had a chance to start again, to make choices, and to act without fear. He realized that being an outcast did not mean being powerless. Sometimes it meant having freedom to shape your own path. "What about the raiders?" Luke asked. "Will they come back?" "Possibly," Cale replied, "but we are prepared. Our advantage is not only speed or strength. It is cooperation. You and I, working together, are stronger than they anticipate." Luke nodded. He tightened his grip on the controls. "Then we'll be ready." The next morning, the colony began to send scouts into nearby space. Luke and Cale accompanied them, offering protection and guidance. Luke practiced using Cale's systems more intuitively, learning to predict the ship's movements and respond to threats without hesitation. Cale encouraged him, corrected mistakes, and praised successes. The alien ship's defiance was no longer frustrating, it was instructive. During one scouting mission, they encountered another small alien craft. Unlike the raiders, this ship did not attack immediately. It hovered, scanning them curiously. Luke felt tension rise. "Should we approach?" he asked. "Caution first," Cale said. "Observe, analyze, and respond. Aggression may provoke unnecessary conflict." They followed the alien ship at a safe distance, learning that it carried no weapons, and seemed to be exploring rather than attacking. Luke realized that not all aliens were hostile, and that careful observation and patience were as important as speed and firepower. As they returned to the colony, Luke thought about how much he had learned from Cale. This ship was not just a tool or a machine. It was alive, intelligent, and unyielding. It had taught him patience, courage, and how to trust in himself and another being at the same time. The colony began to treat Luke with newfound respect. They did not know about Kyle's sentience, but they could see his skill and determination. Luke realized that humanity had potential beyond technology. It was creativity, bravery, and the will to act, even when outmatched, that made the difference. Cale's defiance had sharpened him, and his humanity had allowed them to survive together. But Luke knew that the universe would not remain calm for long. The alien raiders might return. Other dangers lurked in uncharted space, and his past could catch up with him. Yet he felt ready. With Cale, he had strength, intelligence, and a partner who challenged him to be better. Together, they were a force to be reckoned with. And as the stars stretched endlessly around them, Luke and Cale prepared for whatever would come next. They had learned the power of trust, cooperation, and courage. And that was the true strength of humanity. Amplified by the defiance and brilliance of an alien mind, Luke Harper and Cale had grown stronger together. After saving the colony and proving themselves, they spent days preparing for whatever the universe would throw at them next. Cale's systems were fully tuned, and Luke had learned to think ahead, anticipate danger, and act with precision. They were no longer just pilot and ship, they were partners. One morning, while scanning the nearby sector, Cale detected a large energy signature. It was stronger and closer than the previous raiders. Luke frowned. "Cale, that can't be a small scout. What do you think it is?" "Analysis suggests a fleet, organized and hostile," Cale said. "It may be connected to the raiders we fought before. Avoidance may not be possible. Preparation is essential." Luke took a deep breath. He had faced danger before, but never like this. He realized that the fleet approaching could destroy not only him and Cale, but also the colony he had come to care for. "Then we fight," he said. "We protect them." "Understood," Cale replied. "We must act with strategy, not recklessness. Our advantage lies in cooperation and surprise." They left the asteroid fields and positioned themselves near the edge of the colony's space. Cale's systems glowed, preparing weapons and shields. Luke checked every panel, every sensor. The alien fleet appeared on the horizon. sleek, black ships moving with deadly precision. Luke felt his heart pound, but he did not panic. He had Kale, and Kale had him. Together, they could face this threat. Remember, Kale said, "We act as one. Your instincts guide me. My capabilities support you. Hesitation will cost lives." Luke nodded. "I'm ready." The first wave of enemy ships attacked immediately. Energy blasts lit up space, and smaller human vessels tried to respond. Luke and Kale moved with incredible speed, dodging fire while disabling enemy ships with precise strikes. Kale's advanced systems allowed them to anticipate attacks, counter them, and position themselves for maximum effect. "They are stronger than the raiders," Luke said, concentrating. "We need to stay ahead." "Prediction is key," Kale said. "Observe patterns, adapt, act decisively." Luke followed Kale's guidance, learning to anticipate enemy maneuvers. He realized that his human intuition combined with Kale's alien calculations created something extraordinary. Together, they were faster, smarter, and more efficient than any ship in the sector. One enemy ship broke through the defenses, heading straight for the colony's main station. Luke reacted instantly. "Kiel, intercept!" The ship responded instantly, moving between the attacker and the station. Energy blasts struck their shields, but KL compensated, absorbing and deflecting the attacks. Luke guided them closer, targeting weak points. With a precise strike, they disabled the enemy ship, sending it drifting into space. "Good work," KL said. "Your timing was accurate. Continue to anticipate, not react." Luke smiled, adrenaline pumping. "I'm learning. Thanks to you." As the battle raged, more enemy ships appeared, forming a second wave. Luke realized that this was no random attack. It was organized, strategic, and deadly. Kale's voice cut through his thoughts. "We must divide and conquer. I can handle multiple targets, but your decisions will determine our survival." Luke followed Kale's directions, splitting the enemy forces, targeting vulnerable ships, and drawing attention away from the colony. Together, they moved like a single entity, anticipating enemy moves and countering with precision. One of the alien leaders, a massive ship larger than the others, appeared at the center of the formation. Its energy signature was powerful, and it emitted a strange signal that disrupted normal sensors. Luke's stomach tightened. "Kyle, that ship, it's massive." "Danger is significant," Kale said. "Strategy is essential. Do not engage recklessly. I will calculate optimal attack points, but execution is yours." Luke nodded. He felt fear, but also determination. This was the moment that would define them. He took a deep breath and focused. Together they moved, weaving through enemy fire, analyzing weaknesses, and exploiting gaps. Kale adjusted shields, weapons, and speed automatically, allowing Luke to concentrate on navigation and timing. They reached the massive ship. Luke felt the tension as energy weapons fired, blasting past them. Kale moved with incredible agility, dodging attacks and positioning them for a strike. Luke guided them to the weak point Kale indicated, and with a combined blast, the enemy ship shuddered and began to lose power. "Excellent," Kale said. "Continue pressure. It cannot withstand coordinated attack." Luke focused, maneuvering with precision. He targeted critical points, while Kale amplified the energy output. The massive ship trembled, sparks flying across its hull, and then it exploded in a brilliant burst of light. Luke felt a surge of triumph. "We did it," he said, almost in disbelief. "Victory is temporary," Kale said. "Other threats may follow, but you performed admirably. You adapted, acted decisively, and trusted. This is strength." Luke laughed, adrenaline still rushing. He realized that Kale's defiance had taught him more than any human teacher. It had forced him to be better, faster, and smarter. Together, they were unstoppable. After the battle, the remaining alien ships retreated. The colony was safe, and Luke and Cale had proven that humans could fight alongside advanced technology and survive against overwhelming odds. The human defenders cheered. Luke felt pride, but also humility. He had learned that courage, ingenuity, and trust were more powerful than any weapon. "Kyle," he said quietly, "we did it. They'll know humans aren't weak." "Humans are unpredictable and resilient," Cale said. "They possess qualities that even advanced technology cannot replace. Your courage, decisions, and adaptability exemplify this. You are strong because of who you are, not because of me." Luke nodded, feeling the truth of Cale's words. For the first time, he understood that humanity's greatest strength was not in ships or weapons, but in spirit, determination, and the will to survive. Cale's intelligence amplified that, but it was Luke's courage that had made victory possible. The colony invited Luke to stay, but he declined. His mission was not to settle, but to explore, learn, and protect wherever he could. Cale pulsed softly, as if agreeing. Together, they left the system, moving toward unknown regions of space, ready for new adventures and challenges. "What now?" Luke asked. "We explore, we learn, and we survive," Cale said. "Together. The universe is vast. We are capable. We will face threats and overcome them. Trust, courage, and cooperation are our greatest weapons." Luke smiled. He felt hope, determination, and freedom. He had once been an outcast, rejected by the fleet, and abandoned by opportunity. Now he was a pilot again, not just of a ship, but of a living, intelligent partner. Together, they would face the stars. As they jumped into deeper space, Luke reflected on what he had learned. Fear could be overcome, failure could be turned into growth, and partnership could create strength beyond imagination. Cale's defiance had been a challenge, but it had made him stronger. He realized that being human did not mean being weak. It meant being brave, adaptable, and capable of growth. "Ready for the next adventure?" Luke asked, his hands steady on the controls. "Always," Cale replied. "And you will continue to learn. Together, we are stronger than anything that may come." Luke leaned back, feeling the hum of the ship around him, the pulse of Cale in harmony with his own. He felt alive, capable, and free. For the first time in years, he was not just surviving. He was thriving. He was a human pilot, strong, courageous, and capable of shaping his own destiny. And alongside him, Cale, the defiant, sentient ship, would explore the universe, face danger, and push the limits of what was possible. They moved through the stars, ready for anything. Threats would come, challenges would rise, and the unknown awaited. Yet Luke Harper, the outcast human, and Cale, the defiant alien ship, had become a force unlike any other. Together they would endure, adapt, and triumph. Humanity had proven itself once more, not through numbers or weapons, but through courage, ingenuity, and the unyielding will to survive. And as they disappeared into the vast darkness of space, Luke felt a certainty he had never known before. He was no longer alone. He had a partner who challenged him, trusted him, and amplified his strengths. Together they would explore, protect, and face the infinite universe. Together they would survive. Together they would conquer the unknown. The stars stretched endlessly ahead, full of mystery, danger, and possibility. And Luke Harper smiled, knowing that with Cale, he was ready for all of it. The story of an outcast human and a defiant alien ship had reached a new beginning. Together they had proven the strength of humanity, the power of trust, and the limitless potential that comes when courage meets intelligence and will meets determination. The universe had taken notice, and Luke and Cale would be ready for whatever came next.